Welcome, everybody. This is a session we have on AI at the edge. As you all know, AI is kind of the buzz of the day. Every industry is going to be transformed with AI. Definitely, telco is no exception here. And the edge and the network has a key role to play. So today we're going to talk about how the network and the edge of the network plays a role in AI. I have with me Praveen Atreya from Verizon, who is a Vice President of Network Planning. Verizon has been a very long-standing strategic partner of AWS. We started a lot of the telco initiatives in AWS in partnership with Verizon. So I'm very pleased to have Praveen here today to help us get more insights into what role the network and the edge can play as we embark on this big AI transformation across industries. Welcome, Praveen.
Thank you, Ishwar.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your role and what you do at Verizon?
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ishwar. Again, my name's Praveen. Very simply, my role is essentially technology development and strategic planning to modernize, evolve, and monetize our network, starting with a software-centric network model and evolving to use automation, autonomy, AI, and other horizontal constructs to transform what we do and how we do it.
So, Praveen, AI has been around for a while. AI by itself is not new. It's funny how things that were hot technology are now called traditional AI, but I prefer the word classic. But the network has been running some of these AI applications for a while. How do you see generative AI or what's happening right now different? Do they really need deployment at the edge? Do they really need us to look at the network in a different way?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's different ways to slice and dice it, right? The way we look at it is you can call it AI on network and in network. AI on network meaning this is what customers do with AI on our network, and AI in network is things we're doing with AI for the network. I'll say this, couple of factoids, right? Where AI is today from a customer adoption is where video was probably 10 years ago. So we totally expect to see AI traffic on the network dominate in very much the same way that video traffic has. And it's not just an increase in volume, it's a change in patterns, right? AI is going to create uplink heavy patterns, different patterns. Right. And will need differentiated treatment from the network, slicing, etc., in order to accommodate those changes in traffic patterns. And beyond that, I would say AI for network. The other piece on AI on network is just conversational AI. I know today a lot of the inferencing time is taken up by the model, and right. The network transit time contributes a small amount, but as models get smaller, they get closer to the edge, they get more distilled and pruned and all those kinds of things. Network latency will start playing a big role in how conversational AI can reach its true potential in terms of making it a true conversation, similar to a conversation between a human and another human. That's AI on network. As far as AI in network, in Verizon, we have a plan, build, and run framework. AI plays a role, exactly like you said, in transforming all three phases. Where do you need to build network? How do you need to build network? Etc. AI can help you with the projections and the forecasting. Where you at an Excel site, for example, this much is known. A lot of it is in the realm of classical AI, right? Yeah. Forecasting, ML, etc. In terms of build, we now have an owned and operated cloud. It's a container. All our apps are, all our network functions are apps, right? And so all of the orchestration, this clear value to AI in accelerating orchestration scripts to deploy and lifecycle manage that stuff. That's the build. And as far as the run, tremendous amount of data unlock can lead to actions that you need to take to close loop correct, for example, anomalous conditions that occur in your network. All of these are network specific applications of AI in the plan, build, and run. Generative AI is a layer on top of those to promote human interaction in English, right? With things like logs, with PCAPs, and facilitate troubleshooting and so on and so forth. As far as the edge is concerned, right? Like this was AI. As far as the edge is concerned, we're seeing success with use of AI in the edge. Externally, we have customers jointly between Verizon and AWS on mobile edge compute on our joint offering, where they're using edge AI to solve problems like real-time news, live real-time transcription of live news, I would say. And that's a problem that doesn't necessarily need generative AI, but it uses AI at the edge, open AI models like Whisper for transcription and so on, to ensure that real-time news and the transcription of that news stay in sync. We're also seeing a lot of internal uses at the edge, but in terms of generative, I would say it's still very much a core use case. And as and as models get smaller, we expect to see more utility around the edge for internal use.
Yeah. So clearly, the network and the edge has a role to play here in AI, and cloud has a role in that, right? As a partner here. Now you always had a hybrid approach. You have on-prem, workloads and activities that you do on-prem using on-prem infrastructure, and then there's the cloud, right? The region behind it. I'm curious to see how you see this balance play out as we embark on this AI.
To me, on-prem and public cloud, from a basic construct standpoint, they're both enablers of software-centric networks. They're enablers of the app automation, the cloud operating model. They both enable the cloud operating model in terms of ensuring that you can leverage automation, your networks are software defined, and you can inject AI to accelerate both of these. So really, we're very comfortable. The use cases, the control, the capital versus operational expense intensity, these kinds of things dictate what needs to be where. We're very comfortable with an owned and operated because we thought just these kinds of skill sets we have, and so we were able to maximize them through our owned and operated cloud. But we don't see an issue with mobility of workloads, so to speak. In terms of edge and cloud, right? The question is always, does the data go to the model, or does the model come to where the data is? For a use case like pre-training, it's somewhat clear, right? The data goes to the model. For a use case like inference, it's the model coming to the data, right? Because now you're testing the model, you're using the model. There are things like test time compute and reasoning that are increasing the compute level that's needed at the edge for inferencing, but those are, again, that's the balance by things getting more efficient and smaller and distilled and pruned and all those kinds of things. So this is a never-ending thing. There are different like forces at work. It's evolving. It's still not reached steady state. The edge and the cloud both have a role to play. The edge has a role to play for federated learning as well, right? There are cases where more than latency, data privacy is important. And so if you're fine-tuning based on a data set that you don't want to expose all the way back to the cloud, that's your federated LLM at the edge or your SLM at the edge is the way to do it. So there are use cases for edge in the LLM generative AI space dictated by needs like privacy, dictated by needs like efficiency. You don't necessarily need all of this data to propagate all the way northbound to the mothership model. So we see a role for edge and cloud, and we don't necessarily see a massive barrier because of the use of private edge or private cloud in conjunction with a public edge or a public cloud.
So one of the differences in the edge and the region, the way we look at it, is resource constraints and capacity constraints and the cost of compute or any other infrastructure, right? I mean, it's obviously the regions are large scale, shared across multiple tenants, a large number of tenants, which is what gives it, a high level of utilization, lower cost, but also you can throw a lot of resources in that space, right? At the edge, it's more constrained. There's lesser number of tenants, so the utilization can be a challenge. How do you see things like agentic workflows, right? So one of the key themes that is emerging is agents and agentic workflows, which require multiple models to be orchestrated. And how do you see the challenge of resource constraints at the edge handling this, or do you see a different model there in terms of deploying some of these agentic systems?
Couple of thoughts, right? One, the edge is different from cloud in terms of, like you said, right? Like cost, access to resources, and so on and so forth. So the kinds of things you will run on edge will naturally be different from the ones that you run in an AZ, for example. And so in a scenario where you use a LangChain-based system where you have a model gateway and you're working with multiple models, some of these models might run on the edge. Some of the others may run in the cloud. If it's a general purpose model, it's possible it could run on both. If it's a very specific model for a specific use case tuned for a particular scenario, it can absolutely run on edge. Edge will have constraints that an availability zone core will not, but those constraints will drive innovation, and those constraints will drive creativity for a certain set of use cases, right? That require the edge. And the reason they require the edge could be, like we discussed, either because there's a latency piece, because models are getting smaller and now the model latency and the network latency are comparable, and so anything you can reduce can make the model more conversational, more usable. It could also be for privacy reasons. It could be for a whole host of other reasons, right? Resiliency of localization and so on and so forth. Many of these we're discovering as we speak, but one thing is clear: in the agentic world, there is a proliferation of models, and it seems like there's an understanding that there are going to be gateways that dictate the use of multiple models as you go through a complex scenario. And there is definitely room for many of those models to run at the edge, despite the constraints at the edge. And I'm sure we'll see an evolution of capacity, capability at the edge as well, very similar to what we're seeing in the cloud.
Yeah, so changing gears a little bit to, I mean, this was all about network and edge and how that can play a role in Gen AI. But I did want to touch a little bit on how Gen AI is helping Verizon, or how you're looking at it in terms of helping you not only improve internal efficiencies, but also really monetize and generate new revenue streams. All telcos, yourself included, are looking at going beyond connectivity and looking at new services. And I feel that this is a point in time where this new technology could really open up that space. So how are you looking at using generative AI to either offer the network in a different way, or data assets from the network in a different way, or just building new revenue streams through other means, but using generative AI?
So, Ishwar, we see ourselves totally as a lean-in telco into all aspects of AI. From the customer-facing business unit perspective, we absolutely see a clear way for us to apply AI to, from a sales standpoint, to bring in more customers, from a care standpoint, to get customers' problems resolved faster, and make them happier, and from a ARPU standpoint, to personalize what we give to them, right? This is just absolutely core, not just to productivity, efficiency, and automation on the network side and the rest of the business side, the back office side, but also on the revenue generation side. At the same time, we do see new opportunities both inside our products, where AI makes them better, creates new features, for things like our home app, our family app, and so on and so forth. Just increases the utility of those things. And we see other ways for us to enable AI. At the end of the day, we see connectivity as an absolute key ingredient in how people use AI and how people develop AI. And we've set in motion AI Connect, which is a program for us to ensure that we have a key role to play here, both in terms of leveraging our assets to the fullest to enable creation and use of AI. Essentially connecting the enterprise that wants to use AI and to the developer of the AI for a hyperscaler such as you.
Yeah, I think these are really exciting times. Not only is generative AI going to help transform your industry, like any other industry, but you have a key role to play in enabling other industries here, right? I mean, we see the cloud an important piece in helping other industries achieve that transformation vision. But the network also plays a key role, and I think it's going to be a very interesting journey for us to collaborate, us from the cloud side, you from the network side, and the edge side, to really bring that infrastructure together to help other industries and everybody else leverage this technology.
Absolutely, that's how we see it, and I think implementing ourselves is a way of eating our own dog food, but that's how we see our role, right? All of these constructs are somewhat linear: cloud, automation, AI, and then enablement of all of those benefits for all of our customers, consumers, and businesses. So looking forward to this journey with you.
So thank you for being here and sharing your insights. Look forward to the collaboration. Thank you.
Appreciate it.